What's up, my fellow adults who play a child's card game? I guess you also might be a child. Who knows? I'm MtG, and I'm going to be your host today as we play a little Magic the Gathering. And it looked like you guys liked my best of 3 video last time, so we're going to be doing a little more best of 3 in the future. And today I'm bringing you Abzan Midrange. I have played around a lot with building Abzan and stuff. Building Abzan, playing it, rebuilding it, and here's kind of what I've come up with. This was sort of built on a different, somebody else's build, but I changed quite a bit. I changed a lot. So let's talk about the beginning, okay? So basically, I mean, this is mid-range, but we're geared toward beating control because I've been playing lots of control, lots of different types of control, and so that's what our main board is really built against. We'll talk about the sideboard in a little bit. Our main board is built against control and other mid-range decks. So we start off pretty aggressive. We start off with 4 Adanto Vanguards and 4 Tithe Takers. This is actually about the same start as my Bant mid-range deck. So if you're seeing a lot of similarities, I've been playing a lot of Bant mid-range. Some of that transferred over here because I had some success with that. So we start off with Adanto Vanguard and Tithe Taker. Vanguard is great because it's a 3-1 when it's attacking, and it doesn't necessarily die to Mortify and Cast Down, which is something that those control decks are going to be playing early on to try to remove our creatures, so this is excellent. Tithe Taker, basically the same thing. It's going to make our opponent's abilities and spells during our turn cost 1 more, which is nice, so they're going to usually be playing removal on their turn, so we know what's coming up. And he leaves us with a 1/1 spirit token after he dies, so that's really nice. Growth Chamber Guardian, again, this is a 2/2 for 2, and we can adapt it, make it stronger, and get more Growth Chamber Guardians in our hand. So this is one of those ways we kind of keep funneling cards into our hand so we don't run out of steam. That's really what this is for. It's not like super strong, but I mean, you're going to pay 5 for 4/4 if you're paying 2 and then immediately adapting. You're paying 5 for a 4/4 plus a card in your hand, which is really nice. Then we will also run 1 Cast Down and 1 Despark in the main board. Cast Down is for those other mid-rangey and aggressive decks, and then the Despark is in there for big planeswalkers that we don't like. Like if we run into Nicol Bolas or Liliana or even big old Teferi, we get rid of that stuff. In the middle, we've got 2 Midnight Reapers and 1 Plaguecrafter here. Midnight Reaper helps us draw cards when our creatures get killed. Especially, this is good against control if they're running Kaya's Wrath. That's basically going to, if we play a lot of creatures on the field, they play Kaya's Wrath, we fill up our hand again. It's no big deal. Plaguecrafter is pretty nice because it allows us to remove planeswalkers. Say our opponent only has like 1 or 2 planeswalkers on the field, we drop in a Plaguecrafter, they have to sacrifice 1. That can be really, really nice. People who play Dovin and they can make little Thopter artifacts, those are annoying to deal with because they can just sacrifice their Thopters, but usually we're going to be using this to force opponents to sacrifice their planeswalkers rather than their creatures. But sometimes there are big creatures that we run into that we want to have our opponents sacrifice, like Carnage Tyrants. Those are still a thing. We run 4 Knight of Autumn. You can probably adjust this number a little bit, and the main reason I run 4 Knight of Autumn is because of Nexus decks. Nexus decks and Dreadhorde decks. So Knight of Autumn comes into the battlefield as a 2/1 for 3, and you can either put 2+1/+1 counters on her, destroy target artifact or enchantment, or gain 4 life. So she's really versatile, and that's why I have 4 of her in the main board, because against aggro, we're going to be gaining 4 life to just, give us a little more staying power against those mono red and even sometimes mono blue decks, but usually against mono red we're going to be gaining that life, and we have a blocker. We can destroy target artifact. This is great against Nexus decks that are going to be playing Wilderness Reclamation, or not even just Nexus decks, but like decks that are playing like flash creatures like the new Vivien Reid or Vivien Champion of the Wilds. That's really good against those that are playing Wilderness Reclamation, and this is good against Search for Azcanta. And it's good against, Dreadhorde Invasion, that little enchantment that creates, that amasses every turn. This is also nice to remove that against those zombie decks. So just a versatile card for the main board. And in the game 1, if we don't see anything that we want to destroy with Knight of Autumn, we probably board her out for something better. She's just nice and versatile, so good in a game 1 against any matchup, really. We run 2 Mortify, kind of the same reason, because there are going to be some pesky enchantments we want to deal with, but also we can kill creatures with this. That's good. We need removal, and that's why I like Abzan midrange, because it's got some nice, just flat-out, unconditional removal. Bant Midrange was a little bit annoying because it's always like temporary removal or like exiling something until that thing gets destroyed, and they can always get their stuff back. And that's why Mortify is great. He just destroys the creature. It's nice. We run a lot of power in the 4 slot here, okay? These are expensive, and the top end we have a lot of more expensive cards. So we've got Seraph of the Scales. This is a 4/3 for 4 flying. This is a wonderful creature. We can spend 1 white to give it Vigilance or 1 black to give it Death Touch, and it has Afterlife too. So it's really, really, really good. Get your hands on a couple of these. She's good in a lot of different decks. So that's a nice piece of power in there. She's especially good because when she gets destroyed, she does leave behind 2 creatures. So that's really good. These are both amazing Planeswalkers in the 4 slot. Especially Sorin, because against those aggro decks, we're going to really need to gain some life. So Sorin, Vengeful, Bloodlord, as long as it's our turn, creatures and Planeswalkers we control have lifelink. Easy peasy. That's just good. We can also +2 to deal 1 damage to target player or Planeswalker. Also really good because sometimes we want to use this to ping their Planeswalkers and kind of get them out of the way. That's also really nice. And we can revive creatures from our graveyard, bring them back to the battlefield. That's really good ability. I sometimes undervalue that ability. It's just good. He's basically, to me, like a better version of the Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants. That's my opinion. They both have different uses, but I think this is a better option. Also, Ajani the Greathearted, great because it gives our creatures vigilance, so we can attack without feeling like, ooh, we need to keep back blockers just in case they do something crazy. So we can attack and then also have blockers. Gains us life, and we can put counters on creatures and Planeswalkers we control. This is really, really good against those other mid-range and aggressive decks because of that life gain, and we can make our creatures bigger so they can be bigger blockers and be aggressive. So I also like him because he's versatile good against aggro and good against control. If we're needing to ramp up in power really quickly to finish off our opponent, he's a great option. Here in the 5 slot, we've got 2 God-Eternal Oketras, just so good. God-Eternal Oketra is really, really good. Sometimes it's a little bit slow against control, so we might be boarding her out against control, but really, really nice card, especially against mid-range. And then we've got Tristani Discordant. Really, really nice. You could also probably run like a Tulsamir here, but I think Tristani is better because we're going to be going a little bit wide early on. And if we're going a little bit wide, especially with God-Eternal Oketra making more zombie warrior creature tokens, Tristani is good because she makes all our creatures stronger. And we have a lot of afterlife. We've got a lot of kind of smaller creatures here, and we're going to want to buff those up with something. And this is just a lot of value. And if we're playing against like a Grixis or Esper control where they're playing Hostage Taker and they happen to cast one of our creatures, we can get that back using Tristani. So that's nice. We also run Vivien Reid. Vivien Reid is great because she gets creatures from our graveyard, or not our graveyard, creatures from our library, or lands if we're having trouble getting lands, and she can destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creatures with flying. And if we get her to her ultimate, that is, ooh, so good. So good. Chef's kiss. And then lastly, we have Find Finality. This is basically a desperation play. We sometimes need a sweeper against those other mid-range decks or those aggressive decks. We need a sweeper, and this can leave a creature on the field if we use it like that, or we can just bring back creatures from our graveyard. That's nice to do sometimes. Let's talk about our sideboard. I will not really talk about the lands here because I'm pretty budgety about my lands. I don't have a lot of rare lands and things, so that's one of the great downfalls of me playing this deck is that I don't always have the lands hit right, but I can tell you that we have only 24 lands. I felt like that's pretty good. I felt like it's pretty good because we have a lot of plays early on, and we have a lot of ways to kind of bring more cards into our hand with Midnight Reaper, Growth Chamber Guardian, and Vivien Reid can get us lands eventually, but that's a little bit of a slow play. You may want to play this as 25 lands, but I found that 24 is usually pretty good. Okay, sideboard. We have 3 Duress for the control matchup. If we know we're playing against control, we're going to board in all of these. Duress is great. You could potentially mainboard this if you find that you're just going up against control all the time, which is, I've been going up against a lot of control. I've thought about mainboarding Duress, but we lose a slot with Duress if we're going up against a creature deck. So I don't like it. I don't like it in the main board, but it's really good against control. We get rid of Planeswalkers, we get rid of removal, all that good stuff. Bond of Flourishing. Bond of Flourishing is really good against aggressive decks because it gains us 3 life, and we get to pick a permanent from the top 3 cards of our library and put it in our hand. That's either going to be a creature or a land. If we're not getting the lands we need, we pull a land. If we're looking for a blocker against those aggressive decks, we pull a blocker into our hand, gain 3 life, and then we can play that next turn or the very same turn. Really, really, really nice against aggressive. 3 Crawl Harpooner. This is really for specific matchups. Like if we're seeing a lot of nasty flyers, like for instance Seraph of the Scales, Crawl Harpooner is nice removal for that and a good blocker, and it's good against killing Thief of Sanity. We hate Thief of Sanity. We want to destroy that. So if we see that, we bring in Crawl Harpooner. The rest of the sideboard is a little bit, it's like one-offs, so bear with me here. We got 1 Vivien's Arcbow. This is also good against control because Vivien's Arcbow can play things. We don't have to have things in our hand, really, except for 1 card in our hand. We can discard it, tap out, and put a creature straight onto the field. This avoids counterspells, which is nice. It avoids counterspells, and we can do this at the very end of our turn after a sweeper. So that's also at the very end of our opponent's turn, after a sweeper. So this is really, really nice. More Despark for control decks. This kills Planeswalkers. Only big Planeswalkers, though. This does not hit Teferi Time Raveler, Dovin Hand of Control, or the other 3-mana Dovin, or Kaya, or Orzhov Usurper, which is very unfortunate. But it also does get rid of a lot of pesky Planeswalkers that are big and hard to remove. So that's good. We run 1 Kaya, again, against the aggro decks because depending on which aggro build we're going up against, we're going to need to either get rid of those little 1 mana or tokens. With her -1, we can exile target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less, or we're exiling cards from a graveyard and gaining some life. So she's also pretty good against aggro. Run another Mortify, depends on the matchup. If we want to kill enchantments or we want to kill creatures, we bring this in. And then in the very end, we have 1 Liliana and 1 Carnage Tyrant, both actually pretty good against control. Liliana, particularly good against mid-range decks that we're going to be taking to the end of the game, and this gives us so much value if we're making it to the end of the game against another mid-range deck. Liliana is great, but this could also be good against control because it just keeps on creating creatures that are going to be poking our opponents, Planeswalkers are poking our opponents. Depends on the control matchup, of course. This is very slow, and so we usually want to speed things up against control, but sometimes we can't quite make it, so we may want to board in a Liliana. Who knows? Carnage Tyrant, just great against control. Can't be countered. It's hexproof. They have to play Sweeper to get rid of it. And it's got Trample, so it's going to hit them, even if they have blockers. So Carnage Tyrant is great against control. I think I've talked enough about this deck. Let's get into some gameplay. Remember, this is best of 3, and we're going to be playing in Ranked Gold today. Let's go. Let's do it. Here we go. Traditional Ranked. And if you notice, I have this called Abzan Midrange too, because I tried to build a version of Abzan before this one, and I didn't like it, but I was tinkering with both of them at the same time, and I eventually ended up settling on this one because I think it's better than what I was doing. But as I was saying, there are different ways to build this. I've seen some with running Tulsimir in the 5 or 6 slot. But I've seen Tulsimir, so that's a thing that can happen. Okay, we're on the draw. And I like this hand if we're on the draw, assuming we can draw a non-land card on our first turn. But it's actually not a bad hand, because if we're running up against aggressive, we have lots of removal here, and we have a blocker. So I'm going to actually keep this. I don't love it, but it's not bad. Okay, so we got a Gutter Bones here, and we draw a land. Of course we do. Of course we draw a land here. I'm actually going to... The thing is, I don't want to have to shock in on turn 2, so I'm not going to play the Guildgate. I'm going to go ahead and play... yeah, I'll play Overgrown Tomb here. Enters tapped. This is looking like it may be either Rakdos or Mono Black aggro. Not something I've faced with this particular deck, so this will be an interesting matchup. Also, I'm sorry if you're hearing horrible noises right now. They are doing, like, yard work outside my apartment, and it's really terrible. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play this. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I think I've just played Tithe Taker here as a blocker for Dreadhorde Butcher. Problem with playing Tithe Taker is that if they have removal for Tithe Taker, I don't have a solid blocker for these guys. So, I'm going to go ahead and do this, though, because it does kill Dreadhorde Butcher, which is what we need, and it will leave us with another blocker after that. And we can save our Mortify for, like, a Judith the Scourge Diva, if that's what's going to come up next. Midnight Reaper. Okay, Midnight Reaper's not the end of the world. We block Dreadhorde Butcher for sure right here. We take the hit from Gutter Bones, and we're about to take another hit from Dreadhorde Butcher, because Dreadhorde Butcher is so good. Such a good card. Okay. Okay, I think this is the part where we go Orzhov Guildgate and cast down on Midnight Reaper right now. So we still have a blocker for the Gutter Bones. And we have plays to make later on. We have Mortify and an Adanto Vanguard. I don't love Adanto Vanguard here because it's not a good blocker, and we really need a good blocker. Yeah, I mean, we got to do this. They're going to draw another card, but I don't feel super comfortable taking a bunch of damage right here. Okay. I think this is a... I don't want to shock this in, again, just because... I don't want to take extra damage when I don't have a way to heal right now. If I had Ajani on the field right now, that would be a different story. I might be able to shock in a land to play Ajani and gain some life. But Tithe Taker is a good blocker for Midnight Reaper because it trades, and they might be hesitant to attack. Of course, I could have just mortified the Midnight Reaper, get it out of the way. Oh, that's actually very good for us because we can mortify the heck out of Theater of Horrors before they can really do anything good with it. And we will go ahead and do play Adanto Vanguard and hold on to the Mortify until after they have exiled something, maybe. I'm not 100% sure about that play. Not real sure about it. I don't like Priest of Forgotten Gods. I don't like it. You know what? Oh, wait, I can't. Okay. We're going to... Yeah, we'll just pass and kind of see what they do and then play probably the Mortify. I'm torn on whether to play the Mortify on the Midnight Reaper or the Theater of Horrors. So they've exiled a Legion War Boss. So they're going to be wanting to play that. All right, what you got? Nobody. Another Theater of Horrors. So this is the problem now, that it does me very little good to go ahead and play this Mortify on the Theater of Horrors. Oh, jeez. I shouldn't have resolved that. I should have killed the Midnight Reaper first. Okay, though I may... Actually, I'm thinking it might be beneficial. Okay, here's the deal, though. If I try to kill Priest of Forgotten Gods, she's going to activate. Though that would not be the end of the world, but they would draw a bunch of cards. That's the problem. I think I'm going to try to destroy Theater of Horrors here. Yeah. We get rid of that for now. Okay, Tristani Discordant is actually pretty nice. Now I'm gonna attack with the Adanto Vanguard. Yeah. Here we go. So we attack with the Adanto Vanguard. I doubt they block this. There's not really much reason for them to do that. But we are now even in life, and I have little tokens to sacrifice when they inevitably trigger their Priest of Forgotten Gods. Legion Warboss, you say? Okay. Legion Warboss is bad for us because that produces a token every turn for them to sacrifice with Priest of Forgotten Gods. I hate that. I hate that a lot. Resolve, and they draw a bunch of cards, and I lose life, so they can not only play their Fireblade Artist, they can put their Gutter Bones back in their hand. I'll just sack a little Soldier token. I'm thinking we probably should have gotten rid of their Midnight Reaper last turn. That's a terrible draw. That is horrible. Ouch. Okay, we'll play that tapped. I can't very well attack because they've got blockers. Well, they've got blockers they don't want to block with, though. That's the thing. So maybe I attack with the Soldier token because I'm going to gain life out of this no matter who they block with. Okay, that's a... The problem is this Midnight Reaper is bugging me, man. It's bugging me, and I don't have a way to get rid of it right now. And they just keep drawing cards with Priest of Forgotten Gods. Really annoying. Really annoying. Wish I could pick up some gas here. You know what I'm saying? There's the Liliana Dreadhorde General. We don't like that. Yep, they're just creating sack outlets, and they draw a million cards with Liliana and Midnight Reaper. Goodness gracious. Okay. Yep. Resolve, 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 resolve. I'm gonna sack Tithe Taker, I guess. I'm certain we'll see Adanto here, and I'm guessing they also probably play Mayhem Devil in this deck, right? Graveyard Marshal. Interesting. And a Footlight Fiend. Okay, I don't like the look of this. We've been flooding out pretty hard here. You know what? I'm taking the damage so they don't draw more cards. It's fine with me. Dang, Tithe Taker's not a good draw. I'm considering going ahead and conceding this first match and then boarding, because there's not, they've got a huge board against me, a lot of ways to deal damage that I don't like. What do they got under Theater of Horrors? Bad stuff. Gutter Bones. Hello, Gutter Bones. There's Judith the Scourge Diva. That's going to be a good game here. They're going to attack the heck out of me. All right, let's see how they actually do this. Yeah. Yep. Terrible combo to let happen. I hate this. I hate this. Probably should have, thinking back when I used that Mortify to get rid of Theater of Horrors, probably should have killed their Midnight Reaper instead, so that would have stunted their draws a little bit. Could have potentially just killed their Priest of Forgotten Gods too. That would have done basically the same thing. Okay, so we're going to go to game 2, and here's, I think, what we need. We need, gosh, what do we even board in against this deck? Mortify, probably Kaya. Despark doesn't really help us, so I think we board out Despark, maybe. I wish I had more removal. I think I cut a Night of Autumn. We also, excuse me, to be fair, we did not draw very well last game. I mean, definitely, yeah, we board in more removal. We board in Kaya, I think, to exile from the graveyard to gain us life so we can stay alive longer. But we're going to need to pick up more Sorin. We're going to need to pick up Sorin this game. We're going to need to also get rid of their important pieces early on. That's the thing. I think I missed... when I destroyed the Theater of Horrors, I should have destroyed their Priest of Forgotten Gods that they could activate right then, because that it came back to bite us pretty bad. Okay, alrighty, we gotta catch this game here. Or we out. We definitely want to play first so we can be a little aggressive, and that is not what we're looking for here. One forest with a great hand, actually. I love this hand, other than this one forest issue. This, okay, here's the deal with this hand. We have two Selesnya Guildgates. we do get to scry. We have a turn 2 play and nothing after that. But I mean, Tithe Taker is capable. Okay, Tithe Taker is capable. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and play Godless Shrine tapped. So we can play Sunpetal Grove and then Adanto Vanguard or Tithe Taker, depending on what we see here. Okay, they don't have a turn 1 play. So that makes me want to go ahead and Adanto Vanguard to be a little bit more aggressive. And when we can play Tithe Taker next turn as a blocker. We're going to need to draw some gas. We need to draw some gas big time. So this is the same problem we had last game, is where we had too many lands after we... I didn't mulligan last game, but I had too many lands in my hand. And then I ended up drawing more, so we got to be careful here. Dreadhorde Butcher. If he attacks, I block it with Adanto Vanguard. I will make that trade. Okay. I'm going to attack, see if he blocks this, because Dreadhorde Butcher is... Okay. That's fine. I'll deal 3 damage to you. And now we do still have a blocker for Dreadhorde Butcher. Midnight Reaper. Okay. Here... Oh, no, no. Oh, this Guildgate garbage. Why am I playing budget lands? I can't play Sorin this turn, and that really makes me sad. It really does. Okay, the bad news is, if I attack with Adanto Vanguard, Dreadhorde Butcher will die, and then deal 1 damage to Tithe Taker, and so my board will be wiped, unless I want to spend the 4 life, which I don't really want to spend against this deck. Though I might. I could just attack with both to force them to either take the damage or to play really aggressive. You know, I'm going to do that. I'm going to force them to make a choice here. And then I'm going to spend the life here. I'm playing a little bit risky, but I think that's the right play because we do get Sorin, Vengeful, Bloodlord next turn, and that will give us a lot of lifelink going on. They still have a full hand of cards, but I'm not really worried about that right now because we own the board. Judith the Scourge Diva, we don't even care. Gutterbones, well, we don't even care. Okay, here we go. This is the ticket. I think we don't block yet. Okay, we got a land for Vivien, but Vivien doesn't help us very much right now. So we go and play Sorin, plus him, deal 1 damage. Attack with the Vanguard. You block, huh? Okay, here's the deal. Here's the big issue that I have with this. Is that either way, so Judith is going to die, deal 1 damage to my spirit. I did not think they were going to block there. She deals 1 damage to my spirit, and so I don't have a blocker to keep my Sorin alive. But I have another Sorin to play next turn. But if I spend this life, I only go back up to 12. Which puts me in actual kind of danger area here. Yeah, resolve that. They draw a card, but they go to 12. They're going to almost definitely try to kill my Sorin here. Which is not the end of the world. Not the end of the world by any means. Vindictive Vampire. Interesting. Okay. Another Gutterbones. Fine. Do that. Do that.
Time for a drink.
Okay. I'm considering playing the other Sorin and then minus... No, but that... I don't like that play. I like playing Vivien to draw us some more here. Ooh. I think we want Growth Chamber Guardian over Tithe Taker. They've got a lot on the board offensively. The thing is, we don't want their creatures to die because we don't want them to gain life with Vindictive Vampire. We've got them on 8 right now. But they kind of control the board, which is a bit scary. They can kill my Sorin, not the end of the world. And they can kill my Vivien. Oh, and they're not killing my Vivien yet.
Now we're getting started.
Priest comes in with Summoning Sickness, though. And then Theater of Horrors. Well, let's see what we pick up here.
Balance comes.
We want... Adanto Vanguard is terrible. I'm only getting my aggressive cards here, which is not good. I want to get an Oketra. I think I actually take the Vanguard, though. We go Sunpetal Grove. We can play this into Growth Chamber Guardian.
I will have revenge for House Markov.
I think I pay for this. I don't like it because they are going to deal 1 damage to me and gain a life. But they've only got 1 card in hand. Oh, Midnight Reaper. Midnight Reaper.
What a mess I've made.
I'm not convinced I played that right. But they're going to have blockers every turn. Every turn. Unless we can draw a Seraph of the Scales, or we just build up a wide enough board, which is not looking like that's going to happen. I should not have... Well, yeah, okay. Resolve all. That's a bummer. They draw a bunch of cards. Sacrifice Adanto Vanguard. Which should allow me to block their Midnight Reaper if they attack. Lava Coil. Ugh. Okay. Then Bedevil. Yep. That's horrible. And then they attack Vivien Reid with Midnight Reaper and we lose the game. Dang, they had a lot of removal right there. Lots of removal. I do not like that. Shoot.
I've seen worse.
There's our Seraph of the Scales that we were looking for. Okay. We're not toast yet. We're gonna get there. We're gonna be toast eventually. It's problematic that we only have 1 black mana source. But it could be worse. Resolve, yep. So now they can play all of these. They bring Gutterbones, 1 Gutterbones back to their hand. 2 Gutterbones back to their hand, probably. No, they're playing a Gutterbones probably just to sacrifice it. To draw a bunch of cards. Okay. If I sacrifice Seraph of the Scales, I get 2 creatures left behind to deal damage with, and then to sacrifice in the future. But if I sacrifice Adanto Vanguard, I keep my more powerful blocker, but they can keep on making me do this. Let's just resolve all and make this decision. Dang, I'm at 4? Golly. I'm going to sacrifice the Seraph, because here's the deal. Here's the deal. We've pretty much lost already, if we're honest. There's a couple things that could happen. We could draw Ajani. We could draw... What could help us here? Oh my gosh. I can't keep him alive, because Lava Coil. Also because I would die. Okay, goes to my turn, and I lose. Good game. Goodness gracious. That was terrible. Terrible. We could not get anything right. Nothing right. Okay, well, hopefully we will do better in this game. That was a weird matchup, too. Very weird matchup, because we don't... Since I've been playing so much control, I haven't really built in a ton of removal for those kind of combo decks with creatures. Mainly have removal for other things. And not quite enough for creatures. And we just never really got enough gas to build a dangerous board. We got close there, but they were able to just draw so much because we couldn't ever get rid of their Midnight Reaper. Really, really unfortunate. And that's also the kind of deck where you can't just... It's aggressive, but you also can't just sit and hold blockers because they've got enough ways to deal damage to you without ever attacking you. With the Priest of Forgotten Gods and the Vindictive Vampire and Judith the Scourge Diva. All of those ways. Okay. Our opponent... well, here's the deal. We can't cast Cast Down. We can't cast Plaguecrafter with these lands. We can't play Knight of Autumn. And we are on the draw. We don't know what we're up against. We don't know if we're ever going to draw a black mana source. So I feel like we've got to mulligan this, which is unfortunate. And again, we don't have a black mana source, but we do have more plays early on, and I really don't want to mulligan again. We get a Scry. Knight of Autumn is actually okay, because that gives us a turn 3 play, which is a turn 3 play that's versatile, because we don't know what we're up against yet. So we've seen black. That's it. Play that tapped. I'm a little worried we're not going to be able to play our Sorin turn 4, but even if we can't, we can still play Ajani the Greathearted. So we go Sunpetal Grove here, and Growth Chamber Guardian. Growth Chamber Guardian here was a bad draw. We don't want to have that in our hand. We can just put it in our hand later. Okay, so it's actually Dimir or Esper. So Thought Erasure, probably we lose our Ajani, if I had to guess. Potentially lose our Sorin, though, because Sorin is better. Our other Growth Chamber Guardian? Really? That is such a weird choice. Why would you do that? Okay, I'm going to just adapt. Instead of playing the Knight of Autumn, I'm going to adapt and put another Growth Chamber Guardian in my hand. So now we can play Sorin because we drew our lands we needed. And if they play a, whatchamacallit? So it's Grixis, actually. Nicol Bolas. We discard a card. I think we probably discard Knight of Autumn. That's probably going to be the least helpful thing here. We play this. I think I go Sorin. And I attack. I can't block this bad boy anyway. So I think I just attack. And if he doesn't block, they go to 11 and I go to 25. And he still can't, unless he has like Bedevil or Vraska's Contempt here, he can't remove Sorin this turn, which is actually quite nice, because we can get Ajani down next turn. Thought Erasure, we probably lose our Ajani. Or our Growth Chamber Guardian. Our Growth Chamber Guardian. They really don't want us to have that, which I find quite interesting. Okay, we go Ajani the Greathearted.
Honor and courage.
Put counters on. We get our other Growth Chamber Guardian into our hand. We plus you up to deal 1 damage there. We deal 5, so they go to 5. And then we just drop in our Memorial to Folly and pass the turn. So if they don't have a blocker or removal for this Growth Chamber Guardian right here, we will win next turn. But I'm guessing they're going to either just keep Nicol Bolas as a blocker, or they're going to just kill this somehow. They're getting close to being able to flip him into a Planeswalker. Chemist's Insight. So they're digging here. They're digging, which is good. That means they don't really have anything. Please? My guess is, yeah, they concede. Okay, here we go. So what we need to do against this deck, we need to bring in Duress, because we don't want to get Thought Erasure. Duress is faster Thought Erasure. We want that. We probably want Vivien's Arcbow because they're making us discard. We actually also... So I'm going to get rid of all of my Growth Chamber Guardians to bring in Corral Harpooner because Crawler Pooner deals with Nicol Bolas, the Ravager. But we also need Desparks and Mortify. Are you lagging? So we need to now cut a bunch of things. Probably cut Knight of Autumns, because the one time we had her last game, we were like, probably we don't even want that right now. So we cut her. We don't need to bring in Kaya. I actually really like Seraph of the Scales here. Plaguecrafter is actually good. I'm not convinced I love Adanto Vanguard in this matchup. Or Cast Down. We may need to cut Cast Down just because, well, they might run Thief of Sanity, which is a problem. So we want Cast Down for Thief of Sanity. This is a tough choice at this point. Tough choice here. We're running out of time. Let's go. You know what? Let's cut 2 Adanto Vanguards and call that good. So the reason I brought in Despark is because they didn't get there, but I'm pretty sure they're running the Nicol Bolas Dragon God. That's what the new one is called, right? Nicol Bolas Dragon God? Yeah. And that's why we want Despark. We want to get the heck out of... Okay, what is this? Speaking of heck, this hand is so bad. This is terrible. 6 lands and one 5-mana creature. No way, Jose. This is so bad too. What is this? 1 forest. We can't do any of this. This is horrible. Oh my god. Can we catch a break here? Okay, I'm keeping this because there's a land on top, and I want that. This is terrible though. I guess we can play Crawl Harpooner on turn 2, but that might be stupid. Yikes! Golly. Actually, I mean, we play Adanto Vanguard here. We played a little bit aggressive. Yeah, we passed the turn. So we do have Crawl Harpooner if they decide to play Nicol Bolas soon, and they've killed our Adanto Vanguard, which they won't yet. So let's go and attack. I'm actually going to go ahead and play 1 Crawl Harpooner here to put more pressure on them. So they may play a sweeper here, which would make me very sad. They may play Cry of the Carnarium. Nicol Bolas the Ravager. Actually not too terrible. Resolve. We discard a card. I think we need to discard Find, and we will just play Despark. We just Despark the heck out of that Nicol Bolas. And we attack for 6, take them to 11, and we still have... Okay, I'm considering not playing this Orzhov Guildgate. So I have something to discard if they force me to. I don't want to discard Crawl Harpooner. But I think it's dumb. I think that's dumb. I think I need to go ahead and play this because I need to have 4 mana for my 4 mana draws. If we draw something nice, of course we could just start drawing only lands. Ritual of Soot will keep you alive, for sure. That actually is not terrible because it puts 1 creature in our graveyard, which allows Crawl Harpooner to kill 4 toughness creature, like Nicol Bolas the Ravager. And now we've got a nice, thick board that will survive Ritual of Soot. It will not survive a Cry of the Carnarium, so this is a bit scary, but it does survive a Ritual of Soot. Vraska's Contempt. Fine, we can't do anything about that. And they gain 2 life. Midnight Reaper. Hex, yeah, dude. Okay, so we attack. And play Midnight Reaper. So now we have them on 1 if we are able to attack them next turn. We take them to 1. But if they play like another Ritual of Soot or something, we do draw. Moment of Craving. Okay, well, yeah, that happens. We draw a card, though, which is actually good. So we need to draw. Despark. It's not a bad draw. Okay. Selesnya Guildgate. Wonderful. Okay, let's go to attack here. Do we get this in? Okay, so we deal 3 damage here unless they play another Moment of Craving. And then I'm going to go ahead and play... I want to go ahead and play the Crawl Harpooner because that puts us on lethal for next turn if they don't have a sweeper. They could have single target removal for Crawl Harpooner, of course. They may just cast down here. But But this does give us lethal next turn. Another cast down. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, they shock that in to play the Eldest Reborn. Nice aggressive play. So this, even if I made this indestructible, it doesn't help us. We still have to sacrifice it. I want to actually go ahead and Despark the Eldest Reborn, because the thing is, if I draw something I want to play, I'm probably going to have to discard that anyway. Yes, here we go. I could have played this into destroying that, but this is actually going to help us put a creature into our hand, or not a creature, or just a land. We'll take, yeah, I think we take Isolated Chapel. Go ahead and play it, just in case they play something we don't like. So we've got him on 4. We've got him in close to death, but we don't have anything in our hand because and he can destroy our Vivien Reid. If he doesn't, that would be stupid. Yeah, so this is actually terrible now, because we can only draw lands apparently instead of what we want. That's wonderful. That is wonderful, dude. This is going to make me really sad when we actually lose this game. Yeah, we'll just exile that stupid forest that we don't care about.
Your weak minds crumble.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I'm going to keep this in my hand, because when they draw a card, I can still exile this from my hand. But this will maybe make them want to play a Thought Erasure on me. I would have loved to draw a Despark right there. That would be nice. Yep, so they got a full hand of cards and a nice little Nicol Bolas on the field. Liliana, okay. I think we may end up actually losing this one. Double mulligan at the beginning of this game, and having terrible hands was really horrible. This doesn't help us. Ajani doesn't help us. We can play it and gain life, but it's just not helpful at all. So yeah, Liliana is going to get to her ultimate, because I have no way of stopping her right now, and I have no way of stopping this right now. So that's really lame. And they've got the Ravager on the field now too. I don't have anything to discard, so I don't lose that, but I do get... I'm going to have to exile a land here. I think I just exile probably one of these Guildgates.
Witness a mote of my power.
Putrid, but effective.
Okay, attack my Ajani, that's fine.
I've suffered worse.
Not the end of the world. I don't think I can win this game right here. Yep, okay, I'm going to go ahead and concede. We go to sideboard again. What needs to happen here is that we need to not have a horrible starting hand. We boarded exactly how I want to. I may bring in a Liliana here against this deck. What I think maybe I want to do is go... We bring in a Carnage Tyrant, and we bring in a Liliana. And actually, we're going to take out Tithe Taker and put Adanto Vanguard in, because this is a more aggressive start than Tithe Taker. And they've shown us that they probably don't have Cry of the Carnarium, because they were playing Ritual of Soot instead. And then I think I probably cut Cast Down. And probably cut out one Ajani the Greathearted. Ajani the Greathearted is just not a great option here because we don't need it. We don't need this life gain. We honestly don't. The only reason I want Sorin here is because I do want to be able to bring back things from the graveyard, and I want to be able to ping their planeswalkers with his +2 ability. So I think this is probably a better version. These are slow plays that I don't like that this is so slow. But I do like having things in the late game when they just remove everything early on. So this is actually not terrible. Also, what is this? You see this flower right here? This has been in all the like every time you go to sideboard in ranked or like traditional play, this little flower is there and it's so annoying. It's got to be just some like visual glitch. Anyway, I think this is what we want to do. We need to draw better. Honestly, last game I thought we had it. We were so close, but we didn't draw enough gas early because we had to double mulligan. We want to play first. We can be aggressive. Yes, we want this. Yes, because we can shock this in and duress immediately. Because duress will allow us to get rid of a Thought Erasure if they have a Thought Erasure in their hand. And if they don't have a Thought Erasure, we can get over a Nicol Bolas. Get rid of a Nicol Bolas. I don't know what I just said, but so we go ahead and pay the 2 life, and we play duress. I think we get rid of Chemist's Insight. We could have probably gotten rid of Vraska's Contempt, but that's not going to bug us for a while. Okay, well, we play that tap because we don't have a play yet, and we gotta pray that we can draw a card here. Draw something to play. Draw a land. That's what I meant. A land. Yes, Temple Garden. Thank you. Go ahead and pay 2 life to have that because we don't really care about our life total right now. Not important against control. Okay. The Vraska's Contempt is going to make us really sad next turn. But we're going to go ahead and play another Midnight Reaper. They can play Ritual of Soot, and that's 100% okay. We lose both of these, but we do draw 2 cards, which is kind of what we need right now because we need to draw lands. Okay, they didn't want to shock that in, and I understand that. We're going to do this. Ritual of Soot. Destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. Fine, I'll play Seraph of the Scales. They're going to have a hard time beating this field with what they have in their hand. Of course, they could have other stuff in their hand that I don't know about, but Ritual of Soot doesn't do a whole lot for them. Vraska's Contempt doesn't do a ton for them. Vraska's Contempt on Seraph of the Scales. Fine, I still deal 6 damage to you next turn. Liliana is not a great draw. I'm going to hold on to Plaguecrafter because if they play a Nicol Bolas Dragon God, we want to have that in our hand. Or, I mean, we are also Despark that. We Despark the heck out of that. They're afraid to play Ritual of Soot. No, they're not. They're not afraid to play it because they just did. Yep, give me all of those. I'd take 4 damage, but I draw 4 cards, which gives me a land, a Despark, another land, and another Despark. Okay? Despark is actually, like, Despark is great against it in this matchup. But we just can't play all this stuff. We'll go ahead and play Sunpetal Grove into God-Eternal. Quench, you dirty dog, Shadow Man. Oh my gosh. Quench. And we don't even have anything ready. Like, we don't have mana up for a Despark. Though, I'm about to Despark the put out of you. Yeah, we are going to exile a Woodland Cemetery. Because we still get to 6. We draw Memorial to Folly. We'll go ahead and play Memorial to Folly and Despark. This also allows us to have another Despark ready if they play like something else. If they play another Dragon God or even Nicol Bolas the Ravager, we can still Despark that. Yeah, Nicol Bolas the Ravager, fine. We will discard after we Despark you. We will discard the Woodland Cemetery. Actually, you know what? We're going to discard... No. We discard the Woodland Cemetery. We want the Plaguecrafter. We still want the Plaguecrafter. And this turn... So they're running out of cards. In this turn, I'm going to play Liliana Dreadhorde General. Fingers crossed that we can get it down, but they didn't counter that Despark, which makes me think they don't have a counterspell. but they might. That would be very strange if they didn't counter that Despark. Okay, so we get the Liliana, and we go ahead and create a token. They may have a Vraska's Contempt here for my Liliana, but it's not looking like it. I'm actually going to hold this to discard if they play something to make me discard again. My guess is they just... Okay, Moment of Craving, fine. I mean, we draw a card. I would, if I were them, I would have Chemister's Insided. Nicobolus Dragon God, okay. They probably destroy my Liliana, which makes me very sad. That makes me super sad.
Death won't conquer me so easily.
But I will play Tithe Taker. And then play Plaguecrafter. And I'm gonna go ahead and sacrifice the Tithe Taker. If they'll let me. They have counterspell. They may have removal for Tithe Taker. Quench. Come on, dude. You're gonna make me shock in this Temple Garden to Despark you right now? Really, dude? I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I need to get that out of here because they now have one card in hand. They can still Chemister's Insight here. But they've top decking at this point. Search for his concept. Fine. Fine. We'll play... Ooh. What do we have in the graveyard that we want to get back? We could just bring back God-Eternal Oketra with Memorial to Folly. Or we could play Vivien's Arcbow and go digging, which is probably the better option. So we'll play Vivien's Arcbow. Attack for 2 damage. And wait through their turn before we actually trigger this. So this is actually pretty close. That Quench right there has come in handy for them twice. I've never really liked Quench that much. Fine, if that's really what you think is most important right now, you do that. You Moment of Craving me. And then before, yep, I'm going to pay 5 and discard this land card. And play Tristani Discordant, and they pretty much just lose now. We attack all, they go to 2, not exactly what we want, but I can still Vivien's Arcbow again later. They've got to draw like a sweeper here. Even Nicobolus the Dragon God does not save them right here. They've got to draw a sweeper, so it's pretty much game over. They do flip Azcanta though, so that's something. That's something. Liliana Dreadhorde General. Okay. So what could you do? Could they make me sacrifice 2 creatures? Yep. Resolve that. I'll sack both of these. I still keep the flyer, and I win the game. Good game. I will do this for 5. No. What do I have? 7? Yeah, I'll do that for 7. Discard that Orzhov Guildgate and pick up God-Eternal Oketra. And then I will I'll just kill them. Just put them out of their misery. Sorry, Shadow Man. We finally did it. We got it. I was worried that game. I was actually worried. When they countered the Plaguecrafter, I got a little worried that Nicobolus Dragon God was going to sit there and just destroy me all game. And it didn't. It turned out okay. Turned out pretty okay. And that's the deck, you guys. That's it. That is it. It didn't work quite as well as it had played in practice games. It wasn't as strong. And I think part of that is because I'm a little actually frustrated right now with the meta because it's so control heavy. It's like we only ever play control. Different kinds of control too, whether it's Esper control with just planeswalkers out the wazoo, really ridiculously strong planeswalkers, or Grixis control is also really strong. Though Grixis control is not quite as strong, I will admit, but there's also Simic or Bant control with the Nexus is kind of ridiculous, and so that's why I've designed the deck the way I have. It's really to play against control, and then when you play against control, like that's a little bit different. then you run into some trouble. And the main reason I think Knight of Autumn needs to have less of a place in this deck, probably not a 4 of, maybe a 2 of in the main board, and then another 1 in the sideboard, and then we run maybe just another Mortify. I think more removal is good, and maybe, I don't know, I do like our threats in the 2 slot. It's actually a pretty good deck. We had some troubles with our lands. Not having the right lands here in my mana base is not great. So you definitely, if you're going to try to play this competitively, you want to get that sorted out. But let me know what you guys think of this deck in the comments, and if you would like to see me play something specific, let me know in the comments. I do read those, and I'll try to respond to you as well as I can. And again, thank you guys for watching. If you're still with me, peace out.